Salut my friends, Bogdan is here, and this issue is about how to choose online casino license, and I'm gonna give you a review of the most popular gambling jurisdiction and give you some advice on how to set up, how to choose your casino license. So I'll be covering the following issues here in this video. First is what a license actually stands for. Then why do you need it? How to go without it, if it's possible. How to choose a license in terms of what things are most important to consider. Later on, I'll discuss what is the scope of license, why it's important, what is the cost of license, cost of starting a business, cost of running a business, and taxation. And finally, I'll discuss about the timing and the whole procedure, because it's important to know. So I'll be talking about 3 gambling jurisdictions that I think are most well developed right now. This is Curacao, Malta, and Isle of Man. So I'm starting, let me take my coffee. So I'm starting from what a license actually stands for. So a license is the thing that shows your compliance as regards regulation and other requirements for IT infrastructure of a casino, because casino, it concerns money, so you have to secure money with a proper IT infrastructure, and license is something to make sure you have it. Secondly is about game assortment, your game choice selection. So license is to make sure that you as a casino provider will also include the licensed providers on your game rosters. And finally, license is about anti-money laundering clauses. License is to show that you at least stick by certain anti-money laundering provisions and so on. So now that we know what it's all about, why actually you need it. First of all is that you need a license to be able to open your merchant account. In simple terms, is to be able to receive money from your players. If you don't have a license, you cannot actually open a merchant account, and this is a vital thing. Also, a license is necessary to be able to onboard casino games. So if you don't have a license, it's really hard for you to get those tight slot machines and other providers for your casino. And finally, let's take it other way. If you don't need bank account, a merchant account, or if you don't need casino game providers, you actually don't need a license. License is just for this. So I can take it from here. So what are the main things to consider when you're choosing a license? First is the scope of license. So what things does it help you to do? Most of the time it's about geographies. From what geographies does it allow you to take players? Further on, it's about the cost of licensing itself. So is it worthy? Is it expensive? And so on. Other thing to consider is additional, requirements, fees, and so on, because it's not that simple. And it's about a license is just a plate. You also have to set up a business itself. This is a company, legal entity. You have to run a business. You pay yearly, and you have to mind taxation also. So let's start one by one. The scope of license. This is actually the most important thing, because people would like to know, to understand what is the scope of license of Malta Gambling Authority, what is the scope of Curacao or Isle of Man, and so on, so on, so on. So I would say that the scope of license is a theoretical concept. So it does not actually, there's no actual answer. What kind of services, what kind of geographies does it help you to serve? let me put it other way. So if you go on the white hat casino solution, so you buy the whole unbox, the whole solution to unbox and plug in and starts working. So you actually go by the other name, by Dama and Ver or other names. So you don't actually have your own company, you don't have your own bank account and so on. So these white hat solutions would mean that you will the providers of this solution will have a strict oversight on you. So you don't have to think what are the scope. They will be over insured, make themselves over insured, because they don't need problems. They host lots of casinos like you under one single umbrella, and they don't want to mess with this. By contrast, if you go alone, if you go like, for example, turnkey solutions, so it's vital for you to understand what can and what you can do and what you cannot, because it's on you. In this first case, they won't let you do something wrong, but when you go alone, it's all on you. All right, so the question, what is the scope of license, belongs to understanding the enforceability of the license, the overall practice of how it really works to the date. So enforceability of license depends actually on the power of the licensing body itself, and the power of the governments that would like to put it in force. So say if you have Curacao license, Malta license, and Isle of Man license. Let's say that Isle of Man is a champion in terms of the potential scope. You can actually accept players from all over the world, except for jurisdictions that would are expressly restricted, like USA, like France, Austria, and so on. So these are the countries that say no. We have this own monopoly. We don't actually allow no one to mess with it. And like US, they're strong enough to enforce this judgment on you if you would in breach of this obligation. But in practical terms, the Isle of Man our license would also allow you to go for UK players and so on and so on. Finally, it doesn't actually have expressed geo restraints. So what it says is that you have to make sure that you are doing the right way, so you're not breaking the law, the local legislation. By contrast, Malta license, this one holds a whole list of blacklisted countries. So if you go for this license, you will not be able to accept players, for example, from Sweden, from Germany now, from Spain, from Italy, and also the other countries like Netherlands, UK, Romania, Ukraine, and so on. So there's a whole list, and you cannot go left to right. There's a list. If you go left to right, you just when the case arises, Malta would strip you of this license. So they will take away, and this is even fine for them because you apply it next time, you pay them money. Okay, and finally Curacao. Curacao actually have only a tiny list of restricted countries. So this is US, UK, France, Netherlands, maybe one or two countries more, and this is all. Even Australia is not expressly restricted. They just take the most notorious one to the date and say no, you don't go there. But it's also your obligation to make sure that you don't accept players. You may do it, but it then also depends on the enforceability. If UK or United States will go for you, well, it will make a problem for you. You then have to go bankrupt, close the company, and start it over again. This is a bad history. All right, so let's sum up that in terms of the scope, Isle of Man is most universal. If you want to take players from all over the world, but also Curacao takes a very wide approach on this. It is mostly your responsibility to make sure. Malta is the most restrictive one. All right, so the cost of license. The cost of license consists of application fee, license fee, and then duties. This is kind of audit duty, compliance duty, and so on. So let's go by one. Application fee in Curacao, this is 2.5 thousand euro. In Malta, this is 5,000 euro. In Isle of Man, obviously, is 5,000 British pounds. So this is a one-time payment. You apply, you then have to pay, and this is not returnable. The very license fee will cost you 10,000 euro in case of Curacao, 25,000 euro in case of Malta, and 35,000 pounds in case of Isle of Man. Then the duties. So in Curacao, there's no any kind of duties, no audit, no compliance, no nothing. In Malta, there's ad hoc audit duty. It will be imposed on you if a problem arises, but not until this time. And the compliance duty will be 1.25% of your GGR. So, 1.25% of your overall money that you receive from operations will be necessary to be allocated to you as a compliance duty to help them maintain the compliance obligation. In the case of Isle of Man, this is 1.5 of a gross gaming yield. So it's more or less the same amount. So 0 in Curacao, 1.25 in Malta, 1.5 in Isle of Man. All right, so now then, cost of starting a business. So this is a cost of setting up a company, and also importantly, a capital requirement for a company. And then finally, it's a cost of running a company per year. So to set up a company in Curacao, you will need something about 2,000 euros, whereas in Malta, 3,000, in Isle of Man is 2,175. So it's more or less, close. With Malta is a little higher. Yet you must understand that Curacao, it's not necessary to have a Curacao company most of the time, because Curacao is not a CEPA country, so this is not European Union country, and it will be hard for you to make daily transactions with your partners in the European Union and so on. So obviously you will need a company, also another company in the European Union. Mostly this is Cyprus or Estonia, and also another bank account in the European Union. So Curacao goes with this company is called a kind of payment agent. It goes for about 5,000 euros. So Curacao, in the end, will be the most expensive in terms of setting up a company, because it will require 2 companies and 2 bank accounts, one in Curacao, one in the European Union, whereas Malta is one only, and obviously Isle of Man is also one. Okay, so then capital requirements. So there's no specific capital requirements in Curacao. You just set up a company. This is LTD, a limited liability company, and so on. In Malta, this is have to be a shareholder company, so this is private, public company, and you have to allocate 100,000 euro as a capital provision for this company. In Isle of Man, the same thing, but you only have to allocate one British pound. So obviously, Malta takes from you a monetary caution for a time of being of this company, which can be returned to you after this company is done, is closed. But still, this is very important to know and plan your budget before setting up a casino. Okay, the cost of running per year is mostly more or less the same for Curacao. Maybe Malta is a little more upscale, a little more expensive. Okay, so Finally, taxation issues. The taxation is about corporate tax and VAT. The corporate tax in Curacao is 6%. In Malta is 5% for for offshore companies, and also the same regime for offshore companies is in place in Isle of Man, but it's zero, actually 0%. So 6 in Curacao, 5 in Malta, 0 in Isle of Man. The VAT, there's no VAT in Curacao, whereas in Malta is 19 and in Isle of Man is 18%. So if you take the total, cost of license, cost of starting up a business, and put it all together, so in case of Curacao, you will need to pay 20,000, 15 for license, 5 for a company in European Union plus yeah, that's all as a plus. So you have to pay 20,000 in case of Curacao, 30,000 in case of Malta, and 50,000 euro in case of Isle of Man. So this is a kind of difference. Any time to start. So the fastest track is in Curacao. It will take 12 weeks. Well, Isle of Man also will require 10, even faster, 10 to 12 weeks. Malta is the most relaxed one. It may require 16 to 18 weeks to go over this process. So this is probably all about things to consider when you're choosing a license, a jurisdiction to license your online gambling activity. So I invite you to submit your comments here if you like this video, if you have additional questions, if you need my support in advising you on setting up a casino, please drop me an email. I'm ready to help. Thank you for watching. Bye.